All right. Hi, value men. Welcome to the 40-Day Mastery Challenge. The purpose of this challenge is for you to create clarity on your mission and to create momentum every single morning. Remember, the purpose of a routine is to develop rhythm and results in your day. It's not about doing the hard thing just to do the hard thing. That is a distraction. So the ice bath, the sauna, the workout, whatever it is, if you already have those results in your life, you need to shift your energy and focus towards your most important tasks first thing in the morning. So the first piece of this is clarity. Once you've got the clarity, it's about creating momentum every single morning. I'm going to walk you through the workbook and toolkit. Your job is to go through this on your own time. I suggest you skim through it front to back, print it out, scribble in it, write in it, use it as a visual planner for the next 40 days. But the main focus of this 40-day challenge is for you to have clarity across your 4 domains, which this workbook will help you do. Define one principle and practice for your faith, fitness, family, and finances to get you in the rhythm of producing results in the area that matters the most. Whatever that is for you, set that intention and make that the purpose of your morning routine, whether it's to write the book, to burn the fat, build a muscle, lead your family. Your focus for the 40 days is to use a routine to create rhythm and results. All right, let's hop into this. So I'm going to run through this pretty quickly so we can cover all the content, but go back through and make sure you're reading and reflecting on it. 4 things that this book is made up of. First and foremost is the gap. Any journey needs to begin first and foremost with your starting point, where you are now. So there's a couple assessments and new assessments in here for you to get real-time feedback of where you are. Then the map. This is your visual roadmap of where you're going. It's made up of the 6 V's: vision, values, victories, vices, voice, and vocation. I suggest once you fill it out, print it out, look at it every single day so that you know that you're moving the mission forward. Then the morning mastery. This is what you're going to do every single day. I'm going to be introducing a new concept to you as well, which is the path to mastery, which is the path to king. This is your personal blueprint that you can take beyond the 40 days so you can be successful with all of the templates that you're learning. A couple things for you. You can read through this on your own, but the idea is to print this out and use it as an actual workbook. I'm going to start with the end in mind. First things first, I'm going to use some very broad terms. I'm going to get narrow and I get specific. The purpose of using a lot of different terms is so that you can create pattern recognition within your own framework. And so know that when I talk about the crown, being the king, your vocation, I'm talking about what your life's purpose is all about. And this is why we're going to start with this. This is beginning with the end in mind. If you don't have a purpose for your morning discipline, your morning practice, your morning routine that's deeply connected to your identity, where you're going with your life, it's going to feel just like an imprisonment. It's going to feel like an unnecessary discipline rather than purpose and intention. So the idea behind this is that you put in mind, where are you ultimately headed? What is the purpose of your grand plan, your life, and your ultimate mission for who you're going to be as a man? And where this is pulled from is the hero's journey. You probably recognize this in every single movie you've ever seen, whether it is Rocky, Braveheart, all of the Star Wars movies, and every single Marvel movie. There's this idea of going through a path, a development process. And it is, in essence, the 6V formula of the high value man: vision, core values, stacking victories, vices, voice, and your vocation. You start out where you currently are, and you've got 2 choices as a man. You can either stay stuck on the edge, the ledge of life, looking out, looking forward, wishing and wanting, or you can take that first leap of faith. The way that you take that leap of faith first begins with recognizing there is a gap. And the way that we assess the gap is with a discovery tool. I'm going to introduce you to a few tools if you haven't taken it already. Take and scan this QR code. It will take you over to a discovery survey, which will give you an exact number as well as a printout of your core 4. So your faith, fitness, family, finances. Write those numbers down. After the 40-day challenge, I encourage you to come back, retake the gap map, and from there see the progress that you've made. The gap map will expose things that you need to be doing with your 4 domains: your faith, fitness, family, finances. These are the spiritual parts of our body. So your faith is obviously your ability to lead your spirit. Your fitness is your ability to lead your physical body. Your family represents the domain of the heart, your ability to lead your emotions, and your finances is the way that you think. We want to expand our finances, so you got to expand your thinking. The gap that you see in those is going to direct you towards the principles and the practices that you get to focus on for the next 40 days. For you to wake up tomorrow morning and not have a clear plan of what to practice for the power that you want to create would mean that you are not really pursuing mastery, but you're doing one of those things that you see online on the TikTok or the Instagram, and you're watching some other influencer do his morning routine and not really understand why he's doing it. The purpose of creating your own specialized routine is not to practice what someone else is doing, but to create a practice that is designed specifically for you to master the principles for your specific life. So that's what the gap map does for you. First, it builds out a roadmap of where you are so you can decide where you're going. The second piece of this is the map, and the map is the 6V formula. That's where do you want to go, the core values of what you need to build into your framework so that your vision becomes easy and automatic. What do you need to learn? These are key victories. These will build your confidence and your competence over time so that you can take on the greater challenges like your vices. Who will you listen to along the journey and the path? There's going to be many mountains you climb in your life across your faith, fitness, family, and finances. This is just the one of the many summits that you're going to pursue. But who are the people you're listening to that have the fruit that you want within those domains? And why and for what purpose? That is your vocation, the reason why you're here. This is a completed roadmap. It is your 1-year plan. It has your 6 V's all broken out: vision, values, victories, vice, voice, and vocation. It is a clear blueprint. Print this out, look at it, review it every single morning as you start your mastery plan. Know where you're going, know why you're going to go there, the decisions you're going to make along the way. That's your values. The victories you need to stack on a quarterly, monthly, and daily and weekly basis. We're going to break all that down in the formula that you're going to learn over the next 40 days. Identify the vices, be able to discuss those with key people in your life, know who to take advice from, who you're listening to, who's going to guide you to ultimately to receive that crown of the king, which is your vocation. Here's a template for you to fill out on your own. The starting point for this are the 16 questions, and this is the vision builder. Answer, reflect on, write out each of these questions, build out a document that provides a blueprint and consolidate all that information down into the 1 or 2 sentence impact statement that'll be on the top side of the vision for you. Once you've got your vision written out, that becomes a destination of where you're headed over the next 2 years. From that point, you'll be able to define the values of who you need to become for that to be possible and plausible. Core values are essential. They're not just part of building a great company, they're part of building a great life. You need to define and refine the values to make your vision become automatic. So ask yourself the question, what would I need to value to make my vision easy and automatic? You're going to write down your core value, you're going to define it in your own language and terms, and you're going to create a measurable. A simple example of this: if in your vision down the road, 2 years from now, you want to be ripped, jacked, and lean, fit, and have discipline as a necessary part of your life that you don't even think about, what would that guy need to value? Well, he would need to value moderation, self-control, and discipline. Focus on one of those. Define what that means to you and create a daily measurable that you can check in on so that you can know that you're progressing with that value. Next piece is the victory stacking. This is the 3rd V of the High Value Man formula. This is how you build your confidence and your competence so you can take on the greater challenges of life. You're going to stack victories across 4 domains: faith, fitness, family, and finances. As you progress up the mountain of mastery in each of these domains, you're going to develop the power that that domain gives you. And that power for faith, for example, is spiritual leadership, or your oneness, connectedness with your higher power. This is your being. The power of emotional leadership is your ability to love yourself and to love others. The power of fitness is your ability to physically lead your body, to have the strength and endurance to move forward. And that gives you the energy to pursue your missions. The power of finances is financial leadership. And it's not only just the income that you make, but it's the impact that you make with your mind. This is the expansion, your ability to grow beyond your current situation. These 4 domains make up a fulfilled life, and they make up the counsel of the king. Remember, we talked about broad terms. We're going very broad here. We're going to go narrow here in a minute. King, this is ultimately where we all want to go. You want to be the king. Remember, you are the man on the ledge, looking out, looking forward, imagining that crown somewhere in the future. Well, that is your kingdom. That is the Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, the Force, the Star Wars movie, and the Revelation. It is the hero's journey. It is the end of the final saga of Lord of the Rings. It is the return of the king. That's who you're designed to be. It's built into your heart. Every boy grows up and wants to be the king. He wants to have his kingdom. He wants to be able to fully be a in fullness masculine man. And that man is made up of 4 parts. He has, of course, the faith that represents the priest. He has the family that represents the heart or the artist. He, of course, has the finances, the ability to think bigger, and that is the ability to think like a scholar or philosopher. And he has the discipline and the courage and the physique of the warrior, that is the fitness. Those 4 parts make up the counsel of the king. Those 4 parts show up everywhere in life. This is the 4-part framework. It's how you're going to learn how to develop your personal mastery system. But the 4 parts are the natural elements, and this is where we essentially have our foundation for all of the natural world. The 4 directions, north, east, south, and west, creates a center. We have 4 seasons. 4 seasons at the center of that is our entire experience that we experience throughout the year. And then we have the 4 parts of our experience as humans, as men. We have our spiritual being. We have, of course, our physical body. We have our emotional center, and this is how we feel. And we have the way that we think, which is, of course, our thoughts. Those 4 parts come together, and it creates wholeness and unity. Faith, fitness, family, finances, a life of fulfillment. Over focusing on any one of the 4 parts creates drought, it creates drowning, creates misalignment, but ultimately causes death to the overall system. Think about the man that focuses all of his energy and effort on building a business, just the way that he thinks, and his finances. Maybe it's a little bit of ego and he grows his physical body. What ends up happening to his faith or his relationship with his family? They end up drowning, suffering, and he has to sacrifice that to succeed in one area. The high value man is balanced in his 4 domains because he recognizes that he needs all 4 to be truly whole. The purpose of providing you frameworks is so that you can create your own pattern recognition. And so the framework that we're going to lean into throughout this whole process is the pyramid. The peak of the pyramid, because it's just like a mountain, is the crown. This is the peak of your existence, what you're searching for. The peak is made up of 4 parts. Each corner of the pyramid are the principles that you need to master as a man. For example, spiritual leadership, the power at the top of the peak is oneness of your being. There are 4 principles that every faith-based master practices, and that's prayer, scripture, fasting, and fellowship. No matter what religion you're part of, whether you're a beginner or an advanced student, you recognize that there's always prayer, always scripture, always fasting, always fellowship. Practicing these principles develops the power and the proficiency for you to move on beyond and into the next peak. The more that you consistently practice, the more victories you stack, the more you build your confidence and competence. There are 16 principles across the 4 peaks, across the 4 domains. 16 principles are listed here. If you're just beginning a practice and on your path to mastery, you're going to stick to principle 1. You're going to work through those over the 40 days, do a deep dive to discover. You're going to learn a little bit, and then you're going to practice the actions beyond it. And we're going to be walking you through all of this, but I'm going to give you a high-level overview of these 16 principles. We have, of course, for the domain of faith, your ability to pray, read scripture, also write, fast from your distractions, which exhibits your self-control, build faith-based relationships and fellowship. For your fitness domain, strength, endurance, balance, and nutrition are the 4 principles, and there's different levels to all of these, of course. The domain of family or heart is self-awareness. This is your ability to recognize your own emotions, describe more than just anger or frustration, but actually the full range of emotions. It's self-awareness, how you respond to your emotions, which is self-management. Your social awareness is the cues that you pick up on others, and then your relationship management, your ability to influence those around you. Across the domains of your finances, there is the inventory. This is the money that you make, but also the way that you think. Your ability to steward the relationships that you currently have, not only financial, but the way of your ability to maximize your gifts and your talents and your strengths. That's good stewardship, the ability to create predictable systems, and then, of course, multiplication. All 16 of these in the 4 domains interact and work together. And if any one of these has a significant deficit, for example, if you're a -5 in your faith and your ability to prayer, communicate and hear the voice, it's going to make it really hard for you to be a part of a fellowship group and list really high. And so there's always going to be a flow. This is one of your first assessments you're going to do beyond the gap map. Go through the 16 principles, faith, fitness, family, finances, and give yourself a ranking based on the descriptions provided on the pages previously and here, and list out where you are. The purpose of visually seeing where you are across those 16 principles is it allows you to have a quick assessment and diagnostic of all of your principles. Now, imagine if you were traveling and you had 4 tires on your car and you were driving to a destination somewhere in the future. If one of your tires was flat, what would be the first thing that you would do? Obviously, you would fill air in the flattest tire and then you would top off the other ones, of course, right? And so you would have 4 balanced tires as you're pursuing whatever it is that you're driving towards. The same thing applies to your mastery process. If you have an extremely low tire based on this assessment, you need to put air in that tire first so you don't bankrupt or corrupt the entire system. You wouldn't want to drive on 3 full tires and have one that's completely flat. So your focus of defining where you're lowest in your tires is to give yourself a calibration checkpoint to understand where you should focus your energy and effort. Pull some strength from one area and feed it into your weakness so that you can stay moving forward. As it relates to your 1-year plan, because remember, you wrote out your vision already, you have your blueprint. What are some key victories that you intend to stack across each of these domains? If you recognize that there are 4 quarters in a year, you have 4 quadrants or 4 domains of mastery. It allows you to focus per quarter, per domain on specific areas that you need to grow on. This is the 90-day mission tracker. It's part of the DOM method, the dominate method. If you want to dominate your mission, your vision, and your goals, you need to break them down from the 1-year plan down to 90-day missions that are super crystal clear. Once you have clarity in regards to the domain and the areas you want to develop some mastery in, break down your 90-day mission, define what the victory or success looks like, the skills that you need to develop or will develop through the process, when you will schedule that throughout your week, your month, your day, and your year, and the specific steps. If I want to make $10,000 in 90 days, what are the specific steps? Well, step 1 would be for me to brainstorm all the opportunities to do a complete inventory of all the things I have available, and then test out some processes throughout that process. Your 90-day chunk, your 90-day mission is broken down into 30-day objectives. Same thing, define the success, skills, schedule, and steps to get yourself in that direction. Each 30-day block, of course, is broken down into 4 weeks or 4-week sprints. And so you have your 7-day targets that you want to hit to move that mission forward. Once you have your vision tracker built out, the next piece of the formula is for you to face your shit. We all got shit, my friend, every single one of us. And if you are following along with the hero's journey, you'll recognize that the villain is the bad guy that every man must face along his path to mastery. And so this villain is not Darth Vader. He's not sitting somewhere in a cave for you to face. You're not going off, more than likely, you're not going off to war and facing a physical villain. The villain inside is you. You are your own worst problem. You've got vices, drinking, drugs, masturbation, porn, distraction, procrastination, laziness, whatever the fuck your vices are. Recognize that there is something holding you back, and it is the villain of your life. And so if you're following this hero's journey, you've got a vision. You're got core values defined. You're stacking victories. You're starting to build your confidence, your competence. This supreme ordeal, this great problem you're going to face, this cave, this demon, this darkness, the Darth Vader inside, whatever it is, it's you. And it's the stuff that you're avoiding, my friend. And until you decide to bring it to light, to face it, to do the inventory, to recognize which of your 16 principles you have a deficit in. That means if your faith is weak and you're not praying, it's because you're too self-reliant, you're silent, you don't hear the voice of God, you're maybe lacking humility, you've got too much arrogance in your life, or you have very low self-management or self-awareness. And so you're blind to your own impulses and triggers. You're highly reactionary. You're causing more problems with your relationships because you're not focusing on the ability to stay calm under pressure, or you simply can't push through the challenges because you keep showing up every single day as an emotionally weak child. Despite the fact that you are a mature man, that is a vice that you have to overcome. That vice process begins first with identifying the problems. And so there's a couple places here. Quickly scan through this list, identify the issues that are holding you back, and then make a specific plan to discuss them with a trusted mentor, model, someone else that is far more advanced in that area of life. Now, there is a parallel to the archetypes that we have, whether it be the warrior, the artist, the scholar, even the king. There's a shadow side. This is the vice, where the vice shows up. Perfect example of somebody that is seeking wisdom and spiritual truth and exploring their faith. The opposite of that is someone that's lost and disconnected. There's a shepherd that's leading somebody to the light versus the hypocrite that's praying but not practicing. And you can recognize this. And all of us live somewhere in the continuum of this. So I'm not isolating or pointing fingers at you. You have the choice every single day to decide to live in the light or to live in the darkness. That choice is ultimately going to be yours. And it's whether or not you decide to go into this cave, face your shit, bring out the lessons learning, overcome that obstacle on a consistent daily basis so that you can be the king and be the example that your family, your friends, and the world so desperately needs. Once you've got your list of your vices and you're working through this, then you need to move on to the voice. The voice is the fifth part of the framework of the map, the 6V map. And you're going to be referencing this on a daily basis, but the voice is who you're listening to. We have three voices inside of our head. We've got the critic, the coach, and the champion. The critic is all of that negativity, the pessimism, the doubt. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. I'm never going to make it. Too fat, too skinny, too old, whatever it is. We have the voice. You have to identify the voice. You got to stick it to the side, hog tie, duct tape, place them in the trunk. And you have to lean into your coach's voice. This is where you're going to learn how to think from somebody else's thinking. Podcasts, books on tape, whatever it is, borrow the coaches that have fruit in their four domains so that you can start progressing towards that to ultimately unlock the inner voice of the champion. That is the king. Vocation. This is a free write area. Once you receive the crown, and by the way, the crown is something you're always going to be in pursuit of. What does personal mastery look like? Who is the man you're becoming? This is your impact statement, your affirmation, your reminder on a daily basis of where you're headed. Recap. You've got the gap. You've completed the worksheets and assessment. You have a clear picture of where you are. You've built out the map, print it out, look at it every day. This is the 6V formula. Now, all you need to do is master the morning. You're now equipped for a powerful morning routine. Rise before the sun, close the gap, review the map, and grow the king. Every morning, you're going to do a quick check-in on your morning power process and your practice builder. Look at these 16 principles. Define the principle that's going to get your focus for the day, the week, the month, or the quarter, the year, whatever it is. Define the principle, define the practice. What is the thing that you're going to do to develop and to deepen that area? And then what is the focus going to look like throughout that day? The way that you decide what to focus on is first the impact and the effort. When I'm looking through this, I want to choose one area from each domain that I'm going to focus on. So something for my faith every day, every morning, fitness, family, and finances. I need to focus on what the impact is. So what is the impact of me being a part of a daily or weekly or a monthly fellowship group or praying every morning? What is the impact and what is the effort required? The things that require the greatest amount of effort but have the lowest amount of impact, that is a lower priority item. For example, if you're already a 9 out of 10 in your fitness, you do not need to be putting all of your energy and effort first thing in the morning into a morning workout. I promise you, there's other things you need to be focusing your energy and effort on. You don't need to be running the 10 miles before work or training for the next marathon. If your business is failing, you lack faith, or your family desperately needs leadership. If you are highly reactionary and you have not developed the self-awareness and the emotional regulation to be able to lead those around you or simply lead yourself, that needs to be more of a focus than praying and asking God for the next direction. Yes, prayer is powerful, but if He's already told you what to do, focus your energy and effort on the area that's going to create the greatest impact and the least amount of effort inside those areas. This is your morning power focus. You're going to quickly focus on it, check on it every morning, decide the principle and practice you're going to spend your day on. Everything in life happens when you develop consistency and progress. So if you want to develop power in any of those domains, this is your progress tracker. Ask yourself the question, the peak that you're climbing, the principle you're focusing on, and the daily practice you're committed to. For example, my morning routine, my routine is very brief. I check in on a scripture. I do a quick round of breath work to energize my body. I get into the ice pack, meditating on the scripture, then drop down and do a quick round of push-ups and burpees to wake up my body, to warm myself up a little bit. And then I'm focusing on quick daily gratitude, people that I can send a gratitude text to first thing in the morning, and then I'm getting right to the work. My routine is not a distraction from anything else. It's been a distraction in the past, but the purpose of the routine is, again, to create rhythm and results in the day. The first part of my day, when there's no distractions, when there's no one else around it's demanding my attention, that's when I get to move the mission forward, focus on my writing, focus on the leadership that I need to do in the day, focus on the tasks that really matter, not staying stuck in our routine every single morning. Your morning routine mastery contract for the next 40 days. What is your focus? And so of those 16, I got one printed out, of those 16 principles that all need to be mastered throughout your lifetime for you to truly live a life as a high value man, which one is going to get your focus? Which domain is that a part of? And the one that you want to improve the most? Elaborate. What is the pain, problem, or the purpose that it's connected to? Describe that so you have an anchor for it. The principle that you're focusing on the next 40 days, the practice will be. Remember, practice requires consistency. Consistency is what builds a life of mastery. You'll know you're creating progress for this. So, for example, if one of your domains you want to focus on is your business, and you know that a key practice for that is going to be consistent output of daily writing, maybe a daily email. How do you know you're making progress? Well, maybe when your email list grows, or when a certain amount of people respond to something, or you've built a certain financial measurable in your business. Define what that progress marker is going to be. And I'm committed to 40 days of focus to master this because it's ultimately important, because it's connected to your overall mission. The power you're going to generate will be put your name, sign it, print it so that you can see it every single day. Quick check-in on your daily tracker is your focus planner. So whatever core value you're focusing on, remember this part of your 6V formula is your core values. Write it down. Define your schedule in advance. The best way to dominate your schedule for the next day is to write it out the day or the night before. Decide what your daily disciplines are across your core 4. This is your morning mastery routine. Track the progress. We love progress. And so how many days in a row are you getting that daily discipline, that practice is developing the power and the principles for that specific peak? Get 7 days, give yourself a reward. Faith, fitness, family, finances. Remind yourself, what is the objective for that 30-day focus? If you're focusing on any 4 of those 4 domains or those practices as a whole, what is the outcome so you know you're making progress towards it in 30 days? In a 90-day mission, remember, you have 4 90-day missions within the course of a year. And so did you move 1 quarter, 1/25th closer to your goal? You should be able to check that measurable on a weekly basis. What are the issues as they're coming up? Don't wait till the end of a week, month, or a year as you start to discover you have issues. If you wake up in the morning, you're feeling you're suffering and struggling because you didn't get something done from procrastination, write down that issue. Procrastinating from a key core 4 focus. Who can you discuss that with so you can immediately solve the problem rather than waiting for that problem or that molehill to turn into a massive mountain you have to tackle later down the road? End of the day, wins and a brain dump so you can move that mission forward for the next day. Do this every day for 40 days. You won't recognize yourself. How are you going to utilize this group and this tracker and the check-in? I've created for you a quick Instagram story share. Take a screenshot of this, crop it so that it fits within your phone, bring it into the Instagram app, and then clearly write out what is the practice for your faith, the practice for your fitness, the practice for your family, the practice for your finances that you're going to complete first thing in the morning before sunrise and that you can share it. You're sharing this for 2 reasons. One, there's 40 days and 40 boxes here. You're sharing it to create alignment with yourself that what you say you're going to do, you're going to get done, and you're going to create social accountability to ensure that. We will often do more for others than we'll do for ourselves. And so the purpose of this visible social tracker is for you to create that consistency. And the second part of it is for you to generate inspiration. When somebody else is following our journey, and they're waving their hands and saying, I'm so proud of you. And also you inspired to take action in my life. I see you show up every single morning and doing your morning scripture, sharing, the proverb of the day, doing your morning workout, whatever your main focus is for the 4 days, you doing that and creating consistency in your own life is going to inspire someone else to take action in theirs. That is the powerful effect of this entire formula. The very last page of this is reminding you why you started. This peak on top of the mountain, it's a framework, it's a tool, and it's a template. But that crown of the king, the purpose of the king is to provide for his kingdom. So whatever you do within those 40 days, know that the reason why you're doing it is ultimately attached to the fact that you're going to be standing on top of a peak, and your job is to reach down and help somebody else climb up. I'm excited to see what you create over the next 40 days. Any questions, comments, or concerns that you have over the 4-day challenge, drop them into the group, drop them in the WhatsApp, reach out, send me an email. And if you want to dive deeper into the High Value Man 6V formula, the path of growing the king, do me a favor, just shoot me an email, shoot me a message, maybe got my phone number, send me a call as well. But I'm excited to see you on the other side of this 40-day challenge. Much love, many blessings, and I'll talk to you soon. Boom.